It's people like this who give bodybuilders and the fitness industry a bad name. Many people who bodybuild get accused of being insecure about themselves, and so in order to combat the insecurity, they build massive amounts of muscle to feed their ego and inherently insecure nature. Mike Van Wyck is such a person. This video is sponsored by Mueller Sports, but we'll talk more about them in a little while. Trying to compensate for something is one thing. You might look like an idiot, but you're probably not hurting anybody. When this buffoon compensated for something, however, he could have killed someone. Our story begins with Mike, a Toronto native known for a long career in bodybuilding and fitness. After weightlifting in high school, he rose through the ranks of amateur bodybuilding. He ended up winning the Canadian National Championships in 2010 and earning his IFBB Pro card the following year. Van Wyck competed in professional bodybuilding for several years, but a torn pectoral muscle forced his retirement in 2013. Since then, he has transitioned his focus to training and sharing his fitness expertise with a large online audience. It's important to note that Mike is allegedly enhanced. Basically, he takes steroids, allegedly. Next, we have Jeff Nippard. He's a popular drug-free athlete who delves in both bodybuilding and powerlifting. With a massive YouTube following of over 4.5 million subscribers, he shares his extensive knowledge on muscle building, fat loss, and overall health. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry and years of practical experience, a former Mr. Junior Canada in natural bodybuilding, and a Canadian national record holder in powerlifting bench press. Jeff's commitment to fitness, coaching, and education is really obvious in his fitness content. Now that we have the introductions out of the way, let's talk about how these two introduce themselves to each other. I've been watching Jeff for years, and while I don't necessarily love him, I can totally respect him. He has some great information, and he's helped my calves to grow pretty well. But regardless of whether you like somebody or not, nobody has the right to go attacking someone else simply over their opinion. For reasons unknown, Mike decided to put out a video essentially attacking Jeff and other science-based lifters the other day. He goes on and on about how people who study the science of bodybuilding claim that they know a lot but have very little results.
We all know the science-based guys. Any top three you choose. Tell me if you would describe their physique as excellent, average, or mediocre. And where would you put them in that? I guarantee it's not in excellent. It's somewhere in the middle, right? Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much? Because if I knew a lot, I would be very well versed and good at that topic, right? Like say I was some financial wizard. I knew how to like read the stock market, and I'm like, I can see investments and like I can see what businesses are going to succeed. I'd be fucking rich, right? People would be like, yeah, he's fucking genius because like look at him, he applied it and it worked. Bodybuilding, you can be like this big or this short in some cases, maybe this short in other cases. It's always short though, no taller than Bassett. Somehow you're an expert on muscle, but you don't have any. And if you do have any, it's not that well put together and there's a lot of like holes in the physique and you've prided yourself on being strong. Fuck, but I'm strong. Fuck, stronger than you, dude. It's like, strong doesn't matter. You still are trying to squat 6 plates. I'm not squatting 6 plates. My legs are still bigger than yours. Sadly, you do need to apply what it is that you know for people to trust you. But they got fucking nerds or these fucking dorks. They try and prove themselves in shows and they come in fucking last. There's a lot of scammers, if you guys know, in like the day trading world. Anyone who's a day trader, fucking Bitcoin guy, buying and selling Ethereum or whatever and all this shit, and like they're day traders sitting in front of things and they're like gonna guess the trends. Those guys are bullshit artists, guys. Run from them. Those guys are the guys I'm talking about in the fitness world.
The interesting part, however, is the fact that Mike is clearly on drugs. You really can't take someone who abuses steroids and compare them to someone who's a natural bodybuilder like Jeff. Mike saying that Jeff Nippard is unaccomplished and is mediocre would be much more acceptable if Mike wasn't on copious amounts of drugs. Regardless, however, Jeff puts out a response video defending why he believes in scientific methods and very tactfully and respectfully also addresses the fact that he is extremely accomplished in the bodybuilding space.
Or anything, why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much?
I know I don't need to respond to this, but since he asked, using science-based training, I won Natural Bodybuilding Nationals. I earned my pro card on the most competitive stage in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I placed second in my first bodybuilding pro show, and while doing this, I set the Canadian record on the bench press, and I set a provincial record on the squat. I currently weigh 180 pounds at 5'8", 5'5" tall, which is pretty close to my natural limit given my height and my genetics. That's all besides the point though, because facts are facts. Information is either right or wrong. It doesn't matter who that information is coming from. If the people with the best physiques had the most knowledge, why would C-Bum need a coach? He has the best physique on the planet. Who could possibly know more than him? Well, it's pretty obvious that bodybuilding success comes from great genetics and really hard training, and if you want to make it in the IFBB, steroid use. I like science because it gives me more confidence in what actually works and what doesn't, because it isolates variables. If you trust a big guy's advice over scientific studies, that doesn't bother me. I listen to what big guys have to say too.
So Mike decides to attack Jeff because apparently he doesn't like that his name was mentioned on Jeff's channel. Apparently Mike attacked him twice, each time jabbing him in the throat, and we can see on camera how he gets thrown across the room. Jeff ended up going to the hospital because he was clearly hurt from his injuries. Gratefully, he is okay. Now, if you guys have injuries, if you have pain and you need help, I highly recommend checking out Mueller Sports. On their website, not only do they have tapes, wraps, and braces to help you protect yourself and avoid pain, but they also have the revived personal compression unit. This machine uses compression technology in order to relieve pain, as well as help you to warm up or cool down before or after a workout. I've been using this company's product for years, and I think they are extremely reliable and make excellent quality products. Check out the link in the description for discount. So Mike, who's about 3 times the size of Jeff, decides to throw him across a room, and check out the smile on his face while he's doing it. The sad part is that he's going around and having his minions tell others that Jeff is the one who started the problem.
A clip, 6 seconds long, throwing him across the gym like a rag doll. I mean, it's hard not to jump to conclusions. It's hard not to jump on that person's side, right? But I always felt there has to be more to this. What would cause somebody to want to do this to someone else? Yeah, we know about the online beef, but it's got to be more, right? I'm going to show you Jeff's original statement of what he made after the incident. And then I'm going to show you some things that seem to be different. On Jeff's original statement, okay, that was on his Instagram, I'm going to read one passage from this in the beginning, and I want you guys to remember this when you're watching this video. Jeff Nippard stated, "There is already a lie going around that Mike asked me to stay away from him and that I didn't listen and approached him first. This is false, and Pure Muscle has security footage to prove it. I think they should release it." All right, Mike says, "What's up?" So we see Jeff and Mike exchange, and it looks like Jeff had a smile, and it looks like Mike turned around, said something to him, and then Jeff continues working out, and his cameraman is there. We see him filming him. It looks like a nice gym. Now we see Mike over here, okay? I'm going to pause this for a second. Remember, I told you to think about Jeff's original statement. And I'm going to read this again. Mike asked me to stay away from him and that I didn't listen and approached him first. This is false. And the security footage, they have to prove it. All right. So remember that. Okay. So Mike comes over here to the equipment rack to get something. It doesn't look like he looks at Jeff, and he goes back and he was training his client. And Jeff is there filming. And now watch. So Jeff says something to his cameraman. And then it looks like he calls over to Mike. It looks like if you zoom in here, it looks like he calls his name. Mike looks over. His cameraman follows. Jeff says something to his cameraman. And now they go over to Mike. And the camera's pointed at Mike. And now he takes him, he throws him. It looks like he's tripped over that bench. They get closer together. They exchange words. And notice the cameraman put his camera down. He's not filming this footage at this point. I'll get into that later. He takes Jeff again, pushes him by his throat. Jeff has his hands up. He doesn't want any part of this. I don't blame him. And then take a look here at the cameraman. He pushes the cameraman. He walks away.
Since this story happened, there have been a couple of updates. Apparently, Mike has turned himself into the police after Jeff Nippard filed charges against him, and there is currently a pending lawsuit. Again, I am not Jeff's #1 fan by any means. I think his voice is a little annoying, and I think that he does overthink training way too much. But at the end of the day, how can you just attack somebody and expect to get away with it? It shows you the entitlement, it shows you the evil pride within this man's heart, and it also shows you his childlike stupidity. To think that you would get away with something like this is beyond me. What do you guys think? Do you like Jeff? They deserve what Mike did to him? Or you think that Mike should go on vacation for a while in a concrete cell? Leave a like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you all in the next video.